The sun went down behind the mobile home like a burst of egg yolk that dripped from the sky and consumed the trees. Sycamores on the river cast long shadows in the burnt auburn hue, and golden shafts punched holes through plump clouds that looked ripe to carry wetness for days. Woodpeckers knocked and pecked as spring water rose and swooshed through gullies and creeks, climbing their walls and swelling the ditches in low country places, as the limbs grew plump with leaves and branches fought branches when the cool river kicked up wind. Deputy Sheriff Dale Everett Banks stood beside the mobile home with a shotgun in his hands. He watched the windows for movement and listened for the sounds an old trailer makes when someone inside walks in a manner in which not to be detected. "You in there, Jerry Dean? This is the Gasconade County Sheriff's Department." Jerry Dean Skaggs was a convict on parole for shooting a bald eagle and a shit bum to all who knew him. He was violent, had a burly appetite for amphetamines, and was known to have a mean drunk-on come evening. Deputy Banks pounded on the side of the mobile home. "Jerry Dean, I have a shotgun in my hands." Banks racked the pump action. "We need to talk to you, bud." Banks looked back at Deputy Bo Hastings as he circled the trailer with the strap of his Glock uncapped, his hand on the butt. He walked cautiously, with slow, deliberate steps, heel to toe, tall grass spreading out flat beneath each polished shoe. Both cops watched the windows. They heard only birds and wind, and the approaching sound of an outboard motor humming between the bloated mudbanks of the Gasconade. They met at the end of the trailer and exchanged doubts. "Awful quiet in there," Banks said. Hastings nodded. "I'm going to try the door." Hastings knelt beside the trailer and looked below through the spacious gaps in the underpinning, and everything he saw was covered in a dark coating of filth. There was an old bicycle and a cooler and a boat motor. Children's toys filled boxes that were damp from moisture and looked ready to fall apart. Deputy Banks saw the doorknob turned freely, and he kicked the bottom of the door with his foot and nodded for Hastings, but Hastings was already where he needed to be, his Glock drawn, ready to back any play Banks made with gunfire. Banks went in first, the 12-gauge in front of him. "This is the Gasconade County Sheriff's Department looking for Jerry Dean Skaggs." Hastings followed behind Banks and walked down the short hallway with caution. He stumbled over toys until he found a small pink room. The drapes were stained brown, and what didn't hold stain had faded. Purple stuffed animals were sullied with cat piss. A litter box at the end of the hall overflowed with turds. Someone had written "Little Buddy" across the top in red marker. Hastings found a portable cook stove and a cardboard box filled with lithium batteries. Another box held cans of ether and hoses and tubes. Hastings picked up a gallon bag filled with striker strips from old matchboxes and knocked over an empty Coleman fuel bottle with his shoe. "Hey, looks like they've been cooking back here, Dale." Banks walked into the back room, having secured the other end of the mobile home. His meaty hands relaxed their grip on the shotgun. "Find any product?" Hastings said no, but now they had proof of what they had already known. Jerry Dean Skaggs was cooking meth in the child's bedroom of a dilapidated trailer home that was one step above being condemned or falling over, whichever came first. Banks, a solid 300, with a plain round face and heavy jowls growing from a wide fat neck that sprouted from the gap of his shirt collar, turned to leave, and his frame filled the doorway in full. The worn sheets of raw plywood creaked and split under his mass. Hastings said, "God damn, Dale, don't fall through the floor." The outside air was fresh and cool. It greeted them with the tang of river and fish, a scent both country boys knew, and one much better than the stench of a 12 by 60 foot meth lab that smelled like ammonia.